Welcome to the Side Action Podcast, the sports gambling show that covers everything in the world of sports betting from A through Z. We'll cover the four major sports, as well as anything and everything in between worth some action, and will increase the size of your bankroll. And here we go.
All right, welcome to the Side Action, episode 1 of season 7. My name is Jim Weglers, aka Wegs. You can follow me at Wegspool on X and on Instagram. I did it for the first time.
Yeah, I even changed the outline just to make sure that you wouldn't say Twitter. No, that's awesome. We're back. We're back for our 7th season. I'm Coop. I'm thinking about rebranding, by the way.
Yeah,
might have to look into that. We'll talk about it.
You've talked about it, yeah.
But no, I'm Coop. You can check me out on Instagram and Twitter at Dalton Cooper, at Mr. Grumpy Gills on X. I said Twitter the first time.
It's okay.
And yeah, welcome back. We are live from the Edgewater Studios, and we are happy to be with you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I mean, we're not going to be recording too many times here. We'll talk about that in a minute, but maybe the next couple of episodes. So it's good to see you, brother.
Yeah.
This guy, first of all, look at this guy. He's like if you're not watching, if you're listening, this guy's a Hulk of man over here. He's been working out, doing his thing, and going to school, broadcasting school. You can catch up, but it's good to see you, pal.
Yeah, I had to. I was a little out of shape in January. I had to get it together. You set the pace, so I had to make sure that I keep up.
Everybody's this 50-year-old guy's setting the pace. this gut over here.
Yeah, you free swinger, you.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
So what you been up to? Let's catch everybody up. It's been about 4 months or so.
Yeah, give or take. No, like you said, I started school, so that's been fun. I'm doing Illinois Media School, which is downtown. Supposed to graduate in December, and then I'm supposed to do a 6-month internship program with the Windy City Bulls.
Okay.
So we'll see how that goes. They do simultaneous live streams of like the games. Obviously you can watch them on TV, but then they stream on the internet, and that's all done by us. We'll get all that hands-on experience. That'll be cool.
Excellent.
Maybe doing this for real.
Yeah,
we'll
for
see
sure.
what happens.
Hopefully.
But no, other than that, just kind of been hanging out, working. Obviously enjoying the championship belt. I'm sure if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you've seen some great montages. We have like probably 1 or 2 events left where the belt is really going to be key.
When's your draft for the next season? You get to wear it
next Sunday.
Draft. Okay.
Next Sunday is the draft for that league. Halloween is going to be a big hit. We've already got the costume planned out.
But you get to keep it through Halloween. So you get to keep it through the end of the season.
Yeah, technically it goes back to the trophy case when the playoffs start. So like December-ish, right? So give or take there. Or I guess technically probably end of November. But anyway, bygones are bygones. No, other than that, I had my birthday recently. That was a couple weeks ago. That was a good time.
Birthday.
Yeah, shout out to everybody that came. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to everybody that arrived. That was great. And then we actually saw Metallica that weekend at Soldier Field. So that was kind of like the big event.
You had 2 concerts that weekend.
Yeah, it was a 2-dayer. Yeah, they played Friday and they played Sunday. So they're 60 years old. They got to take a day off. But hey, they still rock out, man. They still shred. They sound awesome. Highly recommend.
But didn't you see another band? Did you see 2 different bands?
Yeah, so we saw 3 technically because Metallica obviously played both nights. Pantera opened on Friday, and then Five Finger Death Punch opened on Sunday.
That's the one. The Five Finger. That's your favorite.
That's definitely one of my top favorites. Metallica has really risen in the ranks. Like I used to listen to Metallica, obviously, but
OGs,
they played some songs that I'd never really paid attention to, like Creeping Death, like basically Ride the Lightning album. I'd never really listened to. I was like Bell Tolls, that kind of stuff. So I'm getting into more. My dad would be so proud of me. That's all I gotta say is I'm learning all the Metallica stuff. But no, in a nutshell, that's pretty much it. School, work, gym. Enjoying my friends and stuff when I can. And how about you? I know you're a world traveler now. I hear.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the end of last season kind of got a little sporadic for us. I was in Hawaii for a couple months, and then came back to Chicago when Sophia graduated college. Congratulations, Sophia! It's her birthday today. Too.
Oh, that's right.
Turned 22 today.
Shout out to Sophia. That makes me feel old.
I know. She went. I dropped her for law school 3 weeks ago, and so I'm just trying to enjoy the summer, enjoy you enjoy the rest of our buddies, playing volleyball a little bit. Did have some knee issues, but I'm still back in the mix, still playing a little bit. And softball season, but now I'm going to go back to Hawaii. We'll talk about this later. We got a Vegas trip coming up, and then immediately after Vegas, I'll go to Hawaii again for 3 months. I will be back. I think the last weekend in September I'll come back just because of my travel. I'm going over the East Coast. Might as well break it up and come through. But other than that, I'll be in Honolulu again. So Maui Jim, even though I'm Oahu Jim. Anyway, so it's been interesting. I don't like working like when everybody's having fun, because the problem with working in Hawaii here is that my hours are all screwed up, and I haven't been able to be at the beach a lot in the afternoons like everybody does. I got to play either 5:30 a.m. or on Saturdays or something.
Yeah.
So
welcome to my world. That night school just really takes everything. I know, right? I can't even go to Montrose and enjoy it. You know,
next year we'll be out of both of these and be done with that. But overall, pretty good. Feel okay. A little family update. We've got if somebody's going to stay here for a couple months when I'm gone, so I have a roommate and I have there's a cat in the other room, Raja. Nice. There's a chance she'll screech out because she's a loud little feline over there, and then we've got a goldfish koi situation over here. So I don't know how it's a little strange, but I'm trying to get used to it. Only here for another 10 days or so, and then Nicole can stay here for whatever.
There it is. Yeah, she's gonna hold down the fort for us.
She is.
Live from an undisclosed location.
Undisclosed location, right? So let's get back into our normal routine. Now this particular episode is going to be the college football preview, but we like to do your segments at the top for new listeners. Ours, but you coined them. Which is the first one is who we take into the shed, just to define. This is usually a negative connotation. We take into the shed like they probably screwed up this week or during the summer. Oh yeah. So who are you taking to the shed this week or this summer so far?
Well, I was gonna go through the summer, but then I realized I had like 15 of them, and it would take the whole episode. Yeah. So we wanted to start real close to home with Darren Doche. I believe that's how you. So if you're not familiar, he's the guy that plays flag football for Team USA.
Oh, is that the guy who goes down?
He's shimmy. Like the 5'8" guy, kind of shorter hair, but
the X.
He came out and stated earlier this week because obviously flag football is a big topic for the 2028 Olympics. It's kind of just been buzzing around, but Patrick whomes and some other people were like, oh yeah, I'd love to throw my hat in the ring and play. And Daryl just disagreed. He said that he could probably play flag football better than Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen.
Nobody could touch his flag, is what I think he said.
Or Lamar Jackson.
Right.
Yeah. He should have just said, hey, it's great that we have awareness and that it's coming to the game, but to take a shot at arguably the greatest quarterback of all time, that's tough. Yeah. You're probably going to go in the shed for that.
You're going to go in the shed.
Yeah,
you're going to go in the shed.
If we didn't put him in the shed, X already took him to the shed. So
they did.
We'll put him there. And then this one actually happened recently. Kirk Ferentz, Iowa head coach, he got suspended the first game of the season.
That's blasphemy.
They're not playing anybody, but it was for tampering. So just who's back of the week is tampering.
So tampering. So what did that mean exactly?
He was, I believe he was recruiting outside of a window that was allowed. Okay. But who's not anymore, you know? Right, so, but I think the NCAA just gave him a slap on the wrist and just like, hey, don't do this anymore.
One game. The first game when they play some terrible team.
Yeah, they're playing like Penn State Community College or something. Yeah. So, and then Scott Severus, I believe. Okay. He got fired on his day off Thursday from the Seattle Mariners.
Well, they lost. They blew a 9-game lead.
Yeah,
something like that.
They were up. Actually, it was a 10-game lead at the end of May.
Wow.
And they have fallen apart ever since. The Astros now have like a 4-game lead in the AL West. So. Death, taxes, and the Astros and the ALCS. That's just what that's what we all come to know and expect.
No tampering.
So, no tampering. Just trash cans. Just some trash cans. So, but that's who I had in the shed. Like I said, I didn't want to take too much time. We could have done a whole episode on the shed.
Yeah, it's been a long 3 months. There's lots of things that have happened.
So, who'd you have?
Well, I went very timely yesterday. Nice. We were doing my fantasy draft up at the lake, which was nice. But we were monitoring the game in Ireland, in Dublin. They play this game every year. Yeah. I'm not sure there's any ties to Ireland for Florida State and Georgia Tech, but they did the game there. And not only was Florida State a 10.5-point favorite in this one, but they were supposed to be the 10th ranked team. We know that the early rankings mean nothing,
right?
But they lost outright, and actually they were down almost the whole game. They think they scored the first touchdown, and then they trailed basically the whole game and lost a field goal at the buzzer. So Florida State, I know you had a gripe last year for in the Final Four, but you're not coming out of the gates here. I don't think you have any chance to get in the. Well, I shouldn't say that. There's a pretty low chance to lose Georgia Tech to get to the playoff, but. Welcome to the shed. There's plenty of room because it's first one of the season.
Yeah, they are definitely in the hot seat because they're going to probably have to win out at this point. Yeah. Other person in the shed, we could throw Courtney there because she literally flew all the way across the country to watch her team lose. So shout out to Courtney. Sorry,
Courtney. I saw your pictures. You're smiling. I know you weren't smiling.
She said it was a great game. I disagree with that. I disagree if you're.
She also went to like Iceland or something.
Yeah.
So she had a nice trip, but
a vacation of it.
It's a bit of a downer at the end there.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Courtney. Thanks for listening. So then the other segment is Club Dub. This is the positive side, and as you know, if you listened last year, Coop was very generous, with the dub. That you need to get a bigger. We built another wing.
Yeah,
in the off season. Yeah, we've got a whole other lounge because we know we need a lot of people. Yep. So who are you taking to Club Dub this week? Who are you letting in?
I'm a guy that enjoys positivity.
Of course,
and that's what we're here to share. We're here to keep everybody together, a little positive mojo, if you will. So. Obviously, the first Club Dub this week is the listeners. The boys are back.
Yeah.
We are back.
Come on in.
The 7th season.
We've got a special drink package for you.
Yeah.
One drink, and you're out the back.
Yeah. So it's a exclusive club. So we're gonna start with the listeners. Everybody's in Club Dub this week. And then to counterpoint, I put Georgia Tech in Club Dub because, like you said, they were 10.5 point favorite or 10.5 point underdogs.
Yep.
They to your point, they led the whole game. They seem to control the tempo. When you look at the box score, it probably should have been a 10-point game, if not more, just because of the DJU only threw for like 195 yards.
Yeah, the bottom line is this team's going to run the ball. I think they're going to be an under team. I mean, I'm not putting too much out there, but we yesterday were like, wow, this team's going to control the ball, not throw the ball much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like almost the old school Georgia Tech little triple option.
I know.
Without the triple option.
We're talking about it.
Yeah.
One of the guys, Don, I don't know if you haven't met him maybe, but he does an ATS thing for NFL. We're talking, he's like, yeah, I love all teams that run the option. And I'm like, well, no matter what type, but he wants the wishbone, but it's not coming back.
No. Well, who was I even? There was an NFL team I was talking about could run. Oh, the Steelers. Steelers could run the wishbone with Fields and Cordell Patterson and Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. They could run the wishbone or even the wing T.
The single wing. Right. The T formation.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's who I had in Club Dub. I tried to keep it exclusive for you.
Okay. Well, I am going to the NFL side. I'm sorry I didn't have enough college Club Dubs, but I have to. The quarterbacks, Jordan Love and Tua, they got paid big. Now it's funny because Jordan Love got paid more than Tua in the end.
Yeah.
He's tied for number one salary. He only had one good year. We'll talk about that more next week in the college or the pro preview. But these dudes got paid, so I think they can afford Club Dub. Like they can afford the cover, the VIP section, maybe get some bottle service. So welcome to Club Dub. Spend your money wisely. Not really, and throw it around to us. That's the wise part.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you watching Hard Knocks, by the way?
Oh, of course.
Okay, I was gonna say I love when the rookies get up and they have to say their signing bonuses. I think that's so funny.
Caleb Williams, like 25 and a half or something.
And then the third string guy, Austin, gets up there. He's like $5,000.
Yeah, $5,000. They're like,
yeah,
that's awesome. We'll talk more about that next week. But yeah, I've definitely been watching that. So. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, this one's going to be specifically for college preview. So, and obviously we're doing it for a couple reasons. Yeah. The guy won me over last year. Coop won me over. I mean, he did shoot like 85% from the field last year, which is insane. So we have to go into detail. We didn't even have a college preview last year. So this is you're rebranding yourself or just the podcast?
Oh, definitely just myself.
Okay.
Sure, yeah. I don't want.
You're not going to.
This is our podcast.
Yes.
So yeah.
But you're not going to tell me a new persona. Or you're just going to stick with Coop now.
We'll stick with Coop for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Coop's college preview here. I'm going to be along for the ride here, but I first wanted to talk about, before we get into the teams and the odds and things like that, major conference realignment this year. This is the big year. You've essentially got really just a couple of conferences now. I know there's other conferences, but the ones that really matter. The Big Ten has changed drastically. You've got all the Pac-12 teams that have come aboard. And then the SEC teams, you've got the Oklahomas and the Texas over there. So what's your take on the situation?
I think we're obviously moving toward like a mega conference. I think in 5 years, college football is going to look a lot like the NFL, which unfortunately a lot of traditional diehards are kind of against that.
Right.
But I think adding that home playoff atmosphere is going to be a big, big hit come playoff time.
Huge.
So I think it's going to be fun. You're going to make. There's no more of these cupcake schedules, which I think is what really irritated a lot of people back in the day with the BCS era and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean more money. That's kind of what they want. So
more money.
At the end of the day, it's a television show. So, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I really do.
And I didn't put it on there, but this is the first year of the 12-team playoff, right? So this is. I mean, go back. It's only been 5 years? How long ago? 7 years? When did they do the 14?
I think 2014 was the first year Ohio State won it.
Okay, so that's 10 years or 9 seasons of the 10 or the 14 playoff, and now you've just jumped to 12, which I think is great. I think you have an option to have some team that maybe runs it that's not in this power, 3 ACCs sort of, not really as powerful as the other two, and then you still have a Big 12. Week 12, and then you've got some other.
Away. There's some salty teams out there.
And then there's the American. There's other teams that they can play spoiler. Even the Mountain West, the Boise's of the world, they can sneak in that top 12. There's going to be some buys at the top.
Yeah,
so they got to play their way in, so to speak. But I like that a little bit more. But Now, does it mean that they're going to have less games this year? Are they still going to have this and are there conference championship games? Are they eliminating that?
No, they're still playing conference championship games. The 4 major conference winners are the 4 seeds. So if you win your conference, you automatically get like Big Ten, SEC, ACC, and then the Big 12.
Oh, Big 12 still gets one. Okay.
So those 4 teams, those will be your top 4 seeds. The quote-unquote biggest loser is technically Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. So the highest seed that they could ever be is 5th, just because they don't play a conference championship game. Mm-hmm. But they kind of get a bye. So, we'll get into that obviously too. They're one of the teams that I wanted to talk about a little bit later. But I think it's definitely going to be a fun season.
Yeah, it's going to be different.
It's no more of one loss and you're done. Like it used to be like, okay, 1, okay, we're probably done, and then 2, we're dead. You know, two losses, you were dead. So it's going to be fun to see that kind of juke out. It's going to be more fun to listen to the 13th team bitch instead of the 5th one. So.
Well, and the other thing too is, like you said, I mean, I like the teams that are getting momentum at the end of the season. Maybe they start off and play a really tough schedule the first 3 games and go 1 and 2, but they can run the table, and then they have a seat at the table, and nobody wants to play that team. Yeah,
and the conference schedules are going to make a huge difference. Yes. So obviously, as we go through the preview, but that's a big thing is like who you play what year, especially now that the conferences are
you can't
15
play everybody.
Teams. Yeah, you can't play everybody. So depending on that is really going to make or break, I think, who ends up winning conferences and who has to play a first round game. That's going to be huge.
That's big. But theoretically, I'm just staying theory. I'm sorry to get in this specifics. Theoretically, although it's not really possible because the teams play each other, you could have 8 teams from a given conference in theory. In theory. The extra 7 teams, Notre Dame, we're not going to assume they're in. I guess it'd be 9 teams. 8 teams plus the extra would be 9 teams from one conference could make it in theory. It's not going to happen.
Right.
But you could have a big SEC year where they're going to have 4 or 5 teams in there, and they could, or Big 10 or something. So, or Big 2, it should be Big 50 now. But, well, let's go over it. Let's go over conference by conference, some of the odds and some of the teams that we're looking at. Let's start at the Big 10, which, how many damn teams are there? Are there 18 teams? I didn't even count. There's so many.
Let's see. There was 12, and then they added Nebraska, and they added. So they went to 14, and so I think it is 18.
It's like 18 because you've got USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington.
Yeah,
those 4. Okay, so big 18, but Big 10. So at the top you've got Ohio State. They're plus 150. the plus 150. They're at the top of the heap here. First of all, do you like them for this conference? And that's for the conference. The plus 150 will go over the national championship odds. But what about them do you like or not like?
Well, there's a lot to like. There's not a lot not to like. The only thing I'll start with what I don't like. The only thing I may not like about this team is Ryan Day.
Yes,
that might be the only thing. This year is going to be the year. If they don't have a successful season, and I think that means at least beating Michigan. If they don't beat Michigan, regardless of they make the playoff or not, I think he's out. I think they could win a natty and they could lose to Michigan and people would still be fired. Yeah, I really do. I believe that.
Sure, makes sense.
That's probably the only negative thing. They hired Chip Kelly in the offseason, which was a big hire. He's gonna run the offense this year. They're gonna run the absolute blue blazes out of the ball. They're gonna be a different Ohio State team than what you've seen the past couple of years, where it's been more finesse and skill players. But I think now they're going back to more of that ground and pound style.
Slobber knocker.
Because even in the couple of years that Chip Kelly worked with the Eagles, they were always top 10 in the league in rushing. So he's going to run the ball. Even UCLA last year was a good rushing team. But they also added Will Howard. He was the starter for Kansas State last year. They won 11 games. One of the best seasons Kansas State's had in quite a while.
Let's take that guy.
He had 24 touchdowns and 10 interceptions last year with 61% completion. Not the greatest completion percentage. I think obviously going to Ohio State, getting a little bit more skilled players, probably a little bit better offensive line is definitely going to help that. He added 10 more touchdowns on the ground, so he's able to move, but he's not known for his movement. But he's very good at processing information. Anything that they had, basically anybody they would have gotten would have been an upgrade of what they had last year. So they kind of had a little bit of roulette. I can't remember the quarterback's name they had last year, but he transferred to Syracuse, I believe.
Okay.
McCord, right? Kyle McCord, does that sound right?
Yeah.
So he transferred. He was out. He didn't have a very good year, unfortunately. But I definitely think Will Howard's a big upgrade for them. So And the other thing, they also have Igbuka, right?
Igbuka,
yeah. He's a really good wide receiver. He's kind of had to sit behind the last 2 years. He had to sit behind Marvin Harrison, and then he had to sit behind
Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson.
Years back.
But the expectations for this team is what I'm really curious, is how well can they handle that championship or bust expectation, because that's definitely what it feels like. Even Urban Meyer came out and said this is the best team that Ohio State's probably had in a decade. So, or that college football has seen.
I mean, the thing is that, Day couldn't beat Harbaugh, which is weird because Michigan couldn't beat Ohio State for years. Yeah. But then it flipped. And then the other thing we didn't mention at the top was that Ohio State will play Michigan every year. Those traditional rivalries will stay intact. They'll have to work around the rest of the schedule. So you're right. They got to do it. This is the year. Obviously Harbaugh went to the NFL, so that changes things for them. And can they take care of it? We'll see. But can they beat those teams in the SEC even if they get out of the Big Ten? That's the question.
Well, they got good depth too. They got 14 starters coming back. They added the safety from Alabama in the transfer portal as well, Caleb Downs. Okay. They added Caleb Downs from Alabama. He led the team in tackles last year as a freshman, so he's definitely going to be an upgrade. They were the 21st ranked defense in the country last year. I expect them to probably be the best defense in the country. Yeah, they will probably be the best defense in the country this year. I don't expect a lot of people to score on this defense. They're going to be salty.
So besides, and I'm sorry I should have done this in the notes. This is why it's our first one out for the season, but I'm putting the guy in the spot a little bit. Besides Michigan, do they play any of these other ones like Oregon and Penn State?
They do play Oregon. I think the second or third week of the season.
Okay.
They've got a brutal. They catch Penn State at Penn State, but the other couple games they play at home. They have Michigan at home. They have Oregon at home.
Oh, that's big.
So just their schedule it's okay. It's not obviously the toughest, but it's going to be a challenge. But I don't expect them to see a lot of road bumps. I mean, as long as they stay healthy.
There's no East or West. It's just the top two teams make the championship.
Yeah, and I as long as this team stays healthy, they will be there at the end. Okay, in my opinion.
Good to know.
So
the next one ranked is Oregon at plus 200. So the odds aren't that much different.
No.
They've got Dylan Gabriel as the starter. Obviously, Bo Nix went to the NFL. He's going to start for Denver now.
Yep.
So he's one of the Heisman guys. I started noting some of the Heisman guys. He's plus 550. So he's way up there in terms of the Heisman dude. So he's an Oklahoma guy, and I think I remember seeing him. He's a solid player. Yeah. I'm assuming they're running the same offense as they did last year. No?
Oh, no.
New OC.
For Oregon, I think it is the same OC, but just a different offense. So from Dylan Gabriel playing in Oklahoma really likes to throw the ball downfield. They're a downfield offense. Okay. Dylan Gabriel is not a down the field thrower. He is more of like a Bo Nix, get the ball out on time. He wants to get rid of the ball quick. So Oregon is more of that quick timing offense.
Okay, so Oregon's offense didn't change, just he's coming to a different system.
Correct. Okay. But I think the fit is so much better for him. His skill set is going to fit better. I really like Oregon. Okay. I think Oregon might be a sleeper natty team. First of all, they've got great uniforms. Second of all,
the best.
They've got
Nike owns them.
Second of all, they have one of the best home field advantages.
Oh yeah, Eugene.
And playing in Eugene, but just now everybody's got to travel literally across the country to play them, which is going to be. It's no more of like going from California to Washington. It's going to be going from like Michigan to Washington or Indiana to Washington. All that kind of stuff.
Does Rutgers have to go?
I have no idea. That's a great question. Take the under, whatever you do on Rutgers. But yeah, I think they're tough. Dylan Gabriel has been around the league a little bit too. He started at UCF in 2019. Every season he's been healthy and played for, he's accounted for more than 30 touchdowns.
Wow.
So he did miss 1 year at, I think it was 2021, he missed with an injury. He played like 3 games, got hurt.
Okay.
And that's when he transferred to Oklahoma, actually. But yeah, every year he's been on the field, he's been productive. He's got almost a 70% completion percentage last year. Like I said, he's more of that Tua guy. He's going to get the ball. He's very precise, very on time. So I think that's going to fit really well, especially going against good defenses like Ohio State, like Michigan, like Penn State. Those defenses you're going to play in the playoffs.
But we'll check them out early then because they're going to play Ohio State, and you said week 2 or 3. That's great. So, and then their traditional matchup would be against Washington?
That or Oregon State, maybe?
Okay. But is Oregon State also in the Big Ten?
No, they are, I think they're Mountain West. No, they might be Big 12. They're the Big 12, Mountain West. Yeah,
Big 12. So I was wondering if they maintained a couple of the other teams. I was noticing because you obviously did some breakouts on some, but Penn State, no love. They're plus 500 to win the conference. You put no notes, so I'm assuming you do. I mean, James Franklin cannot win the big game. We know that, but it's a new era. You never know. I mean, I drove near Penn State when I took Sophia through Pennsylvania. I drove all the way across Pennsylvania, by the way.
That's a long drive.
It's very hilly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like mountainous stuff and tight passes. But anyway, Penn State, you must not like them. Plus 500.
No, and honestly, no team is going to benefit more from a 12-team playoff than Penn State.
That's true.
Penn State has been in the top 5 like last maybe 6 or 7 years. So they're always one of the first.
They always
teams
lose
left
at Michigan or Ohio State,
and they always lose those 2 teams, and that's what keeps them out of the playoff. So if anybody's excited about a 12-team playoff,
James Frank.
Can you imagine the atmosphere that's going to be in Happy Valley if they host a playoff game?
A whiteout, baby.
Yeah, a whiteout playoff game is going to be sick.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome.
Get ready for that. And Ohio State does. They go to Oregon. I lied. They actually that's week 6. It looks like. So they play Iowa and then they play Oregon back to back. So, and then they play Nebraska. Okay. So that's a nice little test for sure.
A little bit.
And then they go right into Penn State. So that's a nice little 4-game stretch for the Buckeyes for sure.
They gotta stay healthy. See what happens.
But yeah, Penn State. I don't know. I just
don't believe it.
Until I got to see it. Until they can beat one of the big boys. Yeah. And convincingly, not like a field goal with the gun kind of thing. Like I want to see this team come out and dominate because it just seems to be their MO that they can just beat up on the crappy teams. They beat up on the teams they're supposed to beat up on, which is great and fine.
Every time.
I think they can have their hands full week 1 with West Virginia. I really do. They're going to West Virginia week 1. I think they can have their hands.
We smell an upset here?
I don't know if I'm going to put them on upset alert. The hungry dog parlay. we might have to put that in there. But yeah, until I see Penn State or maybe they'll make a believer out of me, but I got to see it.
I gotcha. All right, another team you highlighted is Nebraska, plus 4,000. I think this is just to win the division. That's
to win the Big Ten.
That's pretty big there. Yeah, win the Big Ten. So, but tell me about it. Obviously, you've got Matt Rule, great coach there. So, what are you thinking there?
Yeah, he's in year 2. Mm-hmm. He's been doing a lot of talking at spring ball and stuff like that, and obviously as we get closer to the season. But his own words was they are a year ahead of schedule.
That's awesome. So that means next year is supposed to be the great year, but they're ahead. Okay.
Yeah. So they have Dylan Raiola. He was a 5-star recruit out of high school. He's like 6'3", 220. Nice. He's actually the godson of Matthew Stafford.
Godson. Okay.
He's a big boy.
Yeah. How do I throw the crossing pass?
But if any kind of arm talent can go from Matt Stafford to this kid, that's great news. So I just think they're a quarterback away. If you look at their turnover margin last year too, this team was killed by turnovers. Every game that they lost, they had at least 4 turnovers. Okay. So that's like the Colorado game. So they lost, I think, 4 games by a combined 15 points last year. So it's not that this team was necessarily bad. It's just they had really bad quarterback play.
Yeah, they can't turn the ball over.
All their quarterback did last year was turn the ball over. So I think that if they obviously that's going to regress back to the mean in my opinion. You usually don't have consecutive years of bad turnover luck.
Right.
And I think that would give them a chance right there. They have the skill players. I don't think outside of maybe Chip Kelly, I don't think there's going to be a team that can outcoach Matt Rule. You're not going to see a big you're not going to see a big mismatch there. So it's going to come down to the players.
Maybe a little dark horse for the playoffs. You probably can get no in the playoffs for some money here, some plus money. So
I was going to say if I was going to put money on a Big Ten team that obviously isn't Oregon or Ohio State, it'd be Nebraska. Okay. It would definitely be Nebraska. So
it.
I think I think they could be sneaky. They could definitely be a sneaky playoff team. So we're going to find out quick about them.
And then I also put on here, first of all, you can hear that. Maybe you can't hear the ambulance, but we're back. We're back. We're back.
We're all the way back.
We know that we are covered by emergency vehicles at any time in the Edgewater studio. But Iowa, plus 5,000 to win the Big Ten. Obviously you haven't been back to Four Shadows much, but apparently you have no love for the Hawkeyes.
I don't think they can. I just don't think I can score enough points. That's supposed to be different this year. So we're gonna see.
They say that every year.
Yeah, I was gonna say it every year. And actually, Iowa ends the season against Nebraska, so that could be.
Ooh, that's exciting.
That could be a play-in game. We don't know.
That may be like a traditional rivalry they're trying to do. I mean, Iowa State is there. They always play them, I think, but that's like the in-conference rival, maybe.
Yeah. And to Iowa's credit, they miss Michigan. They don't play them. They don't play Oregon. They don't play USC. They don't play Washington. Oh, they do play Washington. My fault. But yeah, they avoid basically. There's a Penn State. I don't think they play Penn State either.
So can they just score?
Literally, they're avoiding.
Score 22 points a game. You got a shot, Hawkeyes.
They're avoiding 4 out of the 5 big schools in the Big Ten. So. Their schedule does set up well for them. They're kind of in that Penn State bubble. I gotta see it. I gotta see it. The defense has never been an issue.
No.
Last year they had a win. What they won 10 or 11 games last year, and they
10-2 or something.
Their punter set the FCS record for punting yards in the season.
He's good.
So we got drafted this past year, I believe, for the Bears, right?
Was he? Oh yeah, I think he was. Is that the Australian rules guy?
Yeah. He's hometown hero now.
He's good.
So, but I mean, for a sneaky pick, I do like the schedule. They do have a nice schedule set up for them. So if you're feeling frisky,
Matt and Rob, you heard that. I know you're listening. Foreshadows is listening. We know that. Yes.
Shout out to them.
Plus 5,000. You know, it sounds like this is the 401k pick of the week. No, I'm just joking.
Well, maybe after the first game.
I'm joking.
This
we
is
don't
the
do
toughest
that.
week. Yeah,
we don't do that. Only occasionally.
Game of the year. Yeah.
Well, it's good. It's good to check the schedule out. It's just, can they get it done? I hear you. You want to see it to believe it.
Yeah, they start with Troy and like Alabama State. So
know they're going to have a good tight end. They have a good tight end every year. So
exactly.
Let's go to the other behemoth conference, and that's the SEC. We all know, that the Alabamas, Georgias, but there's a big landscape change here, which we haven't exactly talked about yet. But we'll start off with Georgia. They are, first of all, not just a plus 170 favorite for the SEC championship, but they are the overall favorite to win the title this year. We'll get to that in a minute. Carson Beck. Yeah. I mean, you like this guy, huh?
Oh, who doesn't like this guy?
He's Heisman plus 90 or 900. He's a little bit longer odds than the guy from
Dylan Gabriel
from Oregon, but you like him a lot. Tell me about him.
Yeah, he's probably going to be the first pick overall next year. So the Raiders, maybe the Patriots.
You don't think Minshew's going to crack through and steal that? I mean, have that job by the throat?
Well, I mean, probably he does already, but that doesn't mean they're going to win a lot of games.
No.
I like Gardner as much as the next guy, but. No, I mean Carson Beck's really good. He had a good season last year as well. They were right there at the end. They could have should have beaten Alabama and played for the title. I think they would have gave Michigan a better game than Alabama did.
Probably.
But I mean, like I said, they have arguably the best quarterback in the country with Carson, and great defense as always. They got Trevor Etienne, which is the younger brother of Travis Etienne.
Yep.
He transferred in from Florida.
Okay.
They have 12 starters returning. I believe 6 on both sides. So
not bad.
They're going to be well rounded. Kirby Smart's probably the best college football head coach out there in the country, especially with Nick Saban gone.
Yep.
So
spoiler alert.
Yeah, right. So and they're going to have a great defense. They always have a great defense. I think it's just going to come down to health for them.
And again, they're not doing East-West anymore. It's just
one big
whatever,
SEC.
which is a lot different than it used to be because Georgia would always Alabama always won the West, and now it's just wide open.
Just a nice big bukkake of teams.
That's right. Yeah. I wonder their traditional matchup probably is Florida, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I would argue.
Okay, so then Texas is plus 300 in this one. Them coming over, big powerhouse. We don't have to talk about week one necessarily, but they are a 32.5 point favorite over my Colorado State Rams this week. In week one, meaning there was like week 0, which is like a few games this weekend, and then next week they have the big games. So not good. Quinn Ewers is back. He's plus 900 as well for the Heisman. I mean, I don't know about this guy. He's more of a runner, isn't he?
No, he's definitely got arm talent for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I know, but he always thinks he's trying to run the ball.
Well, he's very mobile. He is a mobile.
He's like a rough and tumble guy, Josh Allen guy, right?
He's not as big, but I guess you could maybe compare. I think he throws the ball. I think he's a little more accurate.
Okay.
At least from I guess if you're gonna compare apples to apples. Yeah. But no, Quinn Ewers is really good. They have actually out of the top 10 teams from last year, they have the highest returning production from players.
There you go.
They brought back a lot of their good players. Last year they were arguably the best offensive defensive line combination team in the country.
They just couldn't they couldn't stop Washington.
Yeah, they just that was more the back end than anything. Yeah. But they have they lost 5 players last year in the first round, I believe, in the draft, or maybe the first 3 rounds of the draft. I might have that wrong, but they lost quite a bit of talent. But again, they're reloaded. Their big key to me, they lost C.J. Baxter. There was a starting running back, or at least slated to be a starting running back. But NFL's kind of proven they're a dime a dozen nowadays. Yeah. So I don't think it'll be too big of a deal.
When they lose him, you mean he transferred? He's got hurt.
No, he got hurt.
Okay.
Yeah, he's going to miss the season with injury. So, but yeah, I like Texas. I mean, they recruit just as well as anybody.
Huge.
Sarkisian.
Burnt orange.
Yeah, Sarkisian can still coach. It's going to be interesting. They're, like I said, their big bugaboo is going to be, can their defensive line play as well as they did last year? They're going to get tested early because I believe they're going to Michigan.
Okay.
I think maybe the second week of the season.
Okay.
And we all know Michigan's going to run the football. Like that is going to be Michigan. So if they show out against Michigan, I would really, really like this team. If they can slow down Michigan's run attack and really control the line of scrimmage,
right.
I think it's going to be a big key for them.
And traditionally, they'll still play Oklahoma, right?
Yeah.
The Red River rivalry. So we want to keep that alive.
They're in the SEC anyway.
No, I know.
But I'm just saying, you're talking about the traditional.
They're always going to play them every year, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So then Bama is plus 750, which this is probably the longest odds I've ever seen them to win the SEC in recent years. Of course, you've got a different coach. Kalen DeBoer is there. Now, DeBoer was in Washington for 2 years or 3 because he was up in where the hell did he come from?
He came from
North Dakota State.
Yep.
So he's North Dakota State to Washington, now Alabama. I mean, he's obviously had an amazing ascent.
Yeah.
And I mean, hell of a coach. I mean, he had a great year. Let's see what happens, though. I mean, the greatest college football coach of all time. I mean, this is, it's very hard to follow that up. What do you think he's going to do? And obviously, he's got Jalen Milroe. He's also in the Heisman plus 1,400. But what do you think?
I think they're still going to be really good.
Yeah.
It's really hard, like to your point, it's really hard to keep that expectation there. Yes. I do see them taking a step back. So
yes,
I don't want to say that maybe a 2-loss team. I still think they're going to make the playoff.
Okay.
At the end of the day, they might be like the 10 or the 9.
Right.
I still think they're going to make the playoff. They have Jalen Milroe, to your point. And they've got a good defense, even though they lost Caleb Downs.
Right.
It's going to be really hard to fill that void just because he's such a good player.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I still like this team. I mean, if you really betting man, you can still put good money on Alabama. Yeah, that's a pretty good number. That's really good value.
My whole thing is that Saban obviously had an incredible staff. I heard DeBoer has got a massive staff. I heard he's got a lot of assistants. Like I think they called me.
He's got a big staff.
I was gonna a big staff.
Real big staff.
Really big one. Gigantic, almost like the mace ball in there.
I wish I put him in Club Dub.
Yeah, he should have. Yeah. Maybe when he wins a couple games.
Okay.
But I don't know. I just think it's like, do you ever remember who was the coach after John Wood? Nobody remembers.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right.
You got these massive coaches, or even Bear Bryant, like these amazing coaches. The next coach, you know what I mean? He's in a tough position.
Very true.
Now they do have the recruiting on point, but now it's Georgia's SEC, so he's going to have to actually play the underdog card, which may work for them.
Yeah.
But we'll see how the faithful. I mean, Bama's been on top for so long. We'll see what happens.
I think it's the first time in like a decade that Alabama wasn't ranked in the preseason top 4, I believe, or something like that. Because now they're 5th technically.
Yeah. So far out.
Yeah.
So there's 2 other teams I wanted to highlight here. We've got Ole Miss plus 800. They're really
Yeah.
We've got not great coach. We've got a fun coach there, right? in Kiffin, but he's got this guy Jackson Dart plus 1,300 for the Heisman. The dude just chucks it. I mean, this team's going to score points. I mean, that's what's awesome about him. And they are on the national scene, but I don't know if they can beat any of the 3 teams we already mentioned.
I think they can hang with Bama.
Okay.
I think the other 2, Texas and Georgia, I think might be a little more physical.
Right?
Yeah, just a little too physical for them, but. Right. I think they can compete with Alabama. They have, like you said, they have Jackson Dart. And in college, it all starts and ends with the quarterback.
That's right.
So you got to have somebody back there that is wired between the ears correctly, and I believe he is one of those folks. But they've returned, I believe they have a high number of returners as well. I think it was somewhere in the 13 or 14 range.
Okay.
So they're bringing back a lot of starters. To your point, Lane Kiffin's been there, I think, 4 years now. He's really starting to change the culture. They got some nice new white unis. I don't know if you've seen those. Those are sick. They've got the white and the blue accent with the white, really nice.
Nice unis.
I think it's the kids excited. I think
my daughter's roommate at Virginia. She's going to Virginia Law. She was an Ole Miss. She was a Reb. I don't think they call them Rebels now, but she's an Ole Miss grad.
Okay.
So the dad was like, they were all Ole Miss people. I'm like,
how was the accent?
It was thick.
It was a good one.
Not bad, but it was like
Mississippi.
I got a little aside here. Back to college in a minute. I kind of got outdadded a little bit.
Oh no.
Yeah, well, I mean.
Oh, the dolly. Is that what you're talking? The dolly.
The dolly, the screw gun. I mean, they had people. It was me. I just had a sedan.
Nice.
With stuff in it. It was pretty funny. He was like, "Oh, do you want to use the dolly?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll use the dolly." And then he came down there and then he dollied up the stuff. I'm like, "You want to take it? Sure, I'll just carry this box. No problem." No.
You got Alpha. Dad.
And then all I did was use the my Allen wrench, and he had a gun, and I just was like, "That's okay. I'm good. I'll just use this. And you take 2 hours to build this bed. It's fine." But anyway.
That's awesome.
Back to the SEC. One other team I wanted to highlight is Tennessee, plus 1,600. Much longer shot to win the SEC, but again, another Heisman candidate. Tough name to pronounce here. Nico Iamaleava.
Yep, there you go. Nice job. Nice job.
But I like the name, and I guess he can really chuck it too, really spin it, as they say. And they've had success in the last couple of years in the past with, challenging the big boys, maybe not quite getting over the top, but winning some games. So what do you think about that squad?
We're going to find out. I believe they play Alabama the 4th or 5th week of the season. So
see if they're for real.
Yeah, the last time Alabama went there, we all know what happened in the goalpost. So I think that's going to be kind of the measuring stick for Tennessee. If they can stick around or even beat Alabama, they could be a sneaky playoff team at that point.
Sure.
It's just going to come down to, like, to your point, Nico can spin it. If they're going to win, it's going to be because of him. It's going to be because of him. So, but they got a great atmosphere too. They got a nice home field advantage. So
Knoxville,
good old Rocky Top.
Rocky Top,
baby. Be banging,
Yeah.
be singing and hollering. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm not super high on Tennessee. I could maybe 9 win teams somewhere in there.
But wouldn't it be cool, like you said before, the playoff, like that they host a playoff game and and they're singing Rocky Top?
Oh man, that would be.
You know what I mean? That's exciting.
All black unis too at night. Oh my god.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the ACC. Certainly has taken a peg down from the two mega conferences now. We just talked about Florida State, so they were plus 300 to win. I guess that's probably
go bet Florida State right now if you like them to win the ACC. You're never going to get better odds.
They're definitely going to be lower now. What do you think? I mean, I don't know if you got to watch the game yesterday. So Mike Norvell, whatever. We'll see what happens. I think that they clearly had issues at quarterback, Ukulele or whatever his name is. He came from Clemson, is that right?
No, Clemson to Oregon State.
Right.
Yeah, he was a Beaver last year.
So now he's everywhere.
Yeah.
He obviously didn't get it done yesterday, and maybe he'll bounce back in the next one. Anything else to talk about here?
Patrick Payton's really good.
Okay.
He could argue he could be the best pass rusher in the country. He's definitely going to be probably a top 10 pick in the draft next year. So somebody just to look out for. I didn't check out the box score and how he did yesterday, but I know all the buzz out of Florida State camp was Patrick Payton is really good.
Payton.
Yeah, look for PP. PP's out there lurking. If you're a quarterback, you want to stay away from PP.
You gotta watch out for PP.
But back to your Mike Norvell thing, he actually has one of the best hits when it comes to the transfer portal.
And he's the Utah State guy? Was that where he was?
Yeah. So, but they lost yesterday in unbelievable fashion. Honestly, if I thought this team was going to lose, they were going to get outscored. It wasn't going to be a struggle for them to move the football like it was yesterday.
Yeah, and they really, it was 14-all at halftime because they kicked a field goal at the half.
They got a 55-yarder at the gun.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't score for the whole third quarter. It was really a rough one. My buddies, I don't know if you know,
jet lag?
Maybe. Well, I was thinking more they went out to the pubs.
Oh.
That was my theory.
Okay.
Florida State hit
too
the
many
pubs
Guinnesses.
Yeah,
they're hanging out in McAfee. That's what they were doing.
All the 18-year-old drinking age, right?
Is it?
I think so.
Nice. There
Why not?
Okay.
All right, well, let's talk about a couple other teams. So we obviously have Clemson. They're still around. They're plus 360. I'm sure their odds went down, meaning smaller odds now to win this division or to win the conference. So what are we talking about here? I mean, Dabo, he's still there, right?
Yeah.
But, he obviously doesn't have the best talent necessarily in the country anymore. So
This is a new Clemson era. This is not your grandfather's Clemson team anymore. The biggest thing I think that is going to really hinder this team is Dabo doesn't use the transfer portal. He is all about building and developing, which is great. Like, I think that's from a football team perspective, it's great. But unfortunately, you have this resource available to him that he's not using,
and everybody's upgrading every year.
And you could change your whole defensive unit or offensive unit literally overnight with this transfer portal.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. They're going to have good offensive and defensive line play. They got Marcus Tate. He's one of their guards. He's probably going to be a first-round pick in the draft next year. Kind of a Quentin Nelson guy. That's kind of a lot of the comps that I've been reading. Yeah, he's really good. So we're going to see if they can control line of scrimmage and run the football, they're going to be frisky. I don't know if they can get the quarterback play.
That's what's been the problem since Trevor left, right? They just haven't had.
Well, even the first year DJ was there, he had over 30 touchdowns, I think, the first year, and then he just, to your point, he fell off a cliff. The guy stinks. He just doesn't. He doesn't see it. I don't think he sees. He's kind of like Justin Fields. Great athleticism. Great athleticism, can throw the ball, but he can't see the picture. Yeah. So unless it's right in front of his face, he doesn't see it.
So Miami's plus 400 here. They seem to be on the rise. Miami was so great back in the day. They were kind of crummy for a while. Now they actually had a pretty good end of the season last year. They were pretty tough.
Yeah, after they blew that game to whatchamacallit.
Florida State
no, remember they were up, it was like Akron or something.
They didn't kneel
the
on the
fumble,
ball.
yeah.
That's right.
That whole debacle. Yeah, they got put in the shed for 3 weeks on that one.
Well, they deserved that one.
So,
but they seem to be bringing back a lot of people. You see that they've got a transfer from Oregon State. So you think that makes them a better squad?
Yeah, Damian Martinez. He actually was second. I think he was second in the country last year in rushing.
Okay.
So he's going to be a big bell cow for them. I think he's going to get the ball quite a bit. And then they also got Cam Ward. But yeah, Cam Ward's going to transfer into quarterback. That's a big upgrade for them, in my opinion. So nice. I think this is going to be, I don't want to say this is kind of a do or die year for Cristobal, but
pretty much.
He's got like, a 13-12 record, I think, since he's taken over. It's going to be interesting.
This is the year. Obviously, Florida State isn't that great. Clemson's a little down. This is your chance to win the ACC. It's not as good as it was back in the day, but at least you get a guaranteed spot in the playoff and see what happens.
They could be a sneaky playoff team. I think because their defense is going to be solid. It's literally going to come down to being able to. Turnovers was also a big thing for this football team last year. They had a negative turnover differential, which, again, that will kill you. I don't care how good your football team is.
Yeah.
So I see that regressing back to the mean, hopefully. But they could definitely be a sneaky pick. If you want to sprinkle a little money on Miami, on the U, I wouldn't blame you.
Plus 400, not bad. The other team I wanted to highlight was NC State, plus 600 or 650 to win the ACC. Maybe that actually went down a little bit with the Florida State debacle. But I've read that this team is a little frisky, as you like to say. They can at least in the conference make some hay. I'm not sure who plays on the squad, but I looked at some of the dark horse teams, and this is the one listed.
You liked NC State?
Yeah.
I haven't read too much about NC State. I think they have a really good schedule break, though. They are They are preseason ranked 24th, but I believe they have a pretty favorable schedule.
Yeah, that's what we want to see. Favorable. Let's make it easy till they play good teams.
So they could be. I have heard the name NC State. It feels like one of those teams. It's like you gotta make a believer out of me.
Yeah.
I gotta see.
Well, like in North Carolina wasn't a top. They've been good the last few years. I don't know. It's like ACC doesn't have the stalwarts that you have in the Big Ten and SEC even before the mega conferences. So now it just feels like their best teams are, like you said, 24th. Like this is like their 4th or 5th best team in their conference, and they're 24th overall. That's bad.
Yeah, and they play Tennessee week 2.
Oh, well,
so we'll see what happens.
We'll see.
But after that, they don't play a lot. They play West Carolina to start. Then they have Louisiana Tech, Clemson, Northern Illinois, Wake Forest, Syracuse. So this team's they're going to win a lot of games.
Clemson.
Yeah, Stanford, Duke.
Okay.
Duke could be frisky this year with Riley at quarterback, right? Because he got hurt. He missed the last 6 games of the season last year. After they beat Clemson, I believe, he got hurt the next game. So Duke could be
soft schedule.
Yeah,
NC
Duke
State
could be frisky, but NC State's got a pretty soft schedule. I could see them winning 10 games pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean the Tennessee game's out of conference, so it doesn't really hit their conference record. It's really the Clemson game and see if these other teams step it up. So, Georgia Tech might be better now.
Right, and that is a neutral site game.
Yeah, where's that?
So they're playing in North Carolina.
Oh, nice.
So they're playing in the Panthers Stadium. Yeah. Duke Mayo Bowl.
Ooh, nice.
Nice.
So let's talk about a couple other teams that are not in this mix. We're not going to talk specifically about the Big 12 because it's a little different now, and but there are some teams that you're looking here.
Oh yeah.
And then so Colorado is in the Pac-12.
No, they're in the Big 12.
Okay, so it did relocate. Okay, so Colorado is one of the teams. We obviously Dion and his machine and that he's kind of creating out there. Let's see what happens now with major college football completely shifting. But they're only at 5.5 wins for the year. Huh?
Yeah, they're 5.
It's pretty low.
I think that is really low.
And last year, what did they win? Like 5 games.
I think they won 5 games, but their offensive line play was so bad. Anybody else in there is an upgrade from what they had last year. So they have Shadur Sanders, one of the best dual threat quarterbacks.
He's good.
He has been talking a little too much for my liking, just from a personnel.
I mean,
if I was like,
apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
I guess which I don't mind. I don't mind having confidence in the swag, but sometimes it's just like we need to just let it go and focus on what's at hand. So I'm hoping it's not too much of a distraction,
right?
To everybody else, whether it's him or not. But 5.5 just seems really low to me. I could see them winning 7, 8, 9 games pretty easily.
Yeah.
I don't know where the 5.5 is coming from. I think it's way too much last year.
Over.
Bias. So
over.
And then the other over team I actually have one more after this I can add. Kansas over under right now is at 8.5. I think they're way over. Their schedule sets up really nice, and I just think there's a lot of talent here. They could be a sneaky Big 12 pick. This team could make the playoff.
Okay.
Just hear me out now.
Well, go ahead.
I know
keep
Kansas.
Talking, I'm gonna look up
I know it's Kansas. I know they're a basketball school, but they have They've had
some good years last.
They've had their quarterback coming back. I can't remember his name right off the top of my head. I think Daniels is his last name.
Okay.
But yeah, Kansas is going to be frisky. To your point, they won nine games last year, 10 games last year for
they had a good
their
year.
bowl game. They're bringing a lot of their starters back. I believe they have a dozen starters coming back, from what I can remember reading in my notes. But I really like Kansas. I think they could be frisky from that standpoint. I wish I had the schedule in front of me too.
Well, let's just take a look. First of all, let's see what their odds are for the championship, which tells you something. You mean Kansas, not Kansas State, right?
Kansas Jayhawks. Yeah.
Let's see here.
Our Kansas.
I am looking. Because Kansas State is 8,000.
So they're ranked 22 in the country preseason. They play Kansas State is the only ranked opponent on their schedule right now.
Okay.
So they could be frisky. They avoid all the other players in the Big 12. So like they avoid the Arizonas, the Arizona States, the Baylors, the Cincinnatis. So they don't play
1,100 to win the conference.
Yeah, they don't play Oklahoma State. They don't play Utah, and I think Utah is going to be the winner.
Plus 300.
I think Utah is probably going to be the winner of the Big 12.
Okay,
they could win a natty. I'm going to say that right now. They could win a natty.
Okay.
Every year Cam Rising has played, they win the Big 12.
Well, and they're going to get a top 4 spot if they win their conference, right?
They'll get a bye. So they'll kind of go from there, but. I think Utah could be a very, very sneaky. I would definitely take the over on them as well. I think they were at like 9.5 or 10 last time I checked.
But just to be clear, you think they're better than in the Sunflower State than Kansas State is plus 350?
Kansas State's okay. I would stay away from Kansas State though.
Because they lost their QB.
Yeah, when you switch, if Will Howard was still there, I think they could compete. Yeah, for sure. Just the continuity is always up in the air with that. But
I gotcha.
Like I said, Kansas. Their schedule sets up really well for them. They play Lindenwood, Illinois, UNLV. Like they play West Virginia at the end of September. That might be a tough one, but outside of that, it's a lot of cupcakes. It's a lot of Houston, a lot of Arizona State, a lot of Iowa States. So
you like cupcakes?
I like I said, if you're gonna double down on somebody's over wins, I think Kansas is the way to go.
Just so you know, as I'm looking this up, to make the playoff, they're still plus 1,000.
Yeah,
to make the playoff.
I like that number.
That's good.
That's a great number. So
that's good stuff. That's type one.
But yeah, and then the other team that I didn't add was actually Utah. I think Utah could be sneaky. I think that's going to be probably a Big 12 championship preview right there. Is Kansas?
Yeah, Utah to make the playoff is plus 210. So it's it's better. I guess it's probably better to win the conference. That's interesting. It's a little surprising, but
and Arizona could be frisky as well
because they're plus 300 to win the conference, but plus 210 to make the playoff. That seems to me. You got them for the conference, but I guess because there's tougher teams, they can still make the playoff without winning the conference. But interesting.
But yeah, those are the other ones that I had kind of highlighted. The two main, like I said, Colorado just seems like a no-brainer. I don't know why it's set up that way, especially with the Big 12 being the way it is.
They're going to lose to Colorado State.
They start with North Dakota State on Thursday. They play Nebraska, Colorado State, Baylor, UCF. I mean, the only ranked team on here is Arizona and Utah right now. Those are the only two ranked teams. They play Kansas and Oklahoma State at the end of the year. I could see them very easily. One win there, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I mean, we're already looking at mid-October, and I could see 4 wins for this team already.
There you go.
So
just got to squeak a couple out over Cincinnati and
if they could squeak. If they upset one of the ranked teams on their schedule, they're going to hit their over right there.
Yeah.
So.
Now, didn't Arizona close really good last year?
They did. Arizona had a good year.
Plus 1,600 to win the conference. It seems pretty
their preseason number. Ranked 21st as well. So, and they have a pretty favorable schedule. I mean, they play in the Big 12. So, but yeah, I mean, outside of that, they play Utah at Utah, which is tough, and then they play Kansas State, which really stinks. Oh, they get a bye week before Utah, though.
Yeah, load up.
They play Kansas State, and they have a bye week, and then they play Utah. So.
Yep.
That's definitely going to be a night game, but anytime anybody goes into Utah at night, I'd never bet against Utah at night. So
you can't.
Utah during the day, bet against Utah.
Okay,
but
good to know.
Utah at night, don't ever bet against them. There's just something in the air there, something about playing in the mountains.
The Mormons?
I don't know what it is, but it messes with people.
Even it did
to Caleb Williams twice.
Wow.
That team had 2 10-point fourth quarter leads both times they played in Utah, and they lost both games.
Night game.
So it's just something there. Even he mentioned it. Yeah, there's something in the air there.
Something weird.
So Phil Collins.
Well, let's talk about the national title. We can make a pick if you don't feel comfortable with it. I'm sure you know who you want. But just run down the whole thing here. So Georgia's the favorite at plus 250. I pulled these early in the week. It may have shifted around a little bit. Ohio State's plus 350. Oregon plus 600. Texas plus 800. Bama plus 1,100. There's Ole Miss plus 1,800. LSU creeps in there. They didn't really make the preview here. Plus 2,000. There's your Notre Dame at plus 2,200. Penn State plus 2,500. Michigan all the way down at plus 3,000. Florida State, we're going to put a line through that because it's going to be 3,300 anymore. and then Tennessee plus 4,000. So this was when I pulled it the other day. I guess I could, do my job and update it. Roughly, this is probably about the same. I don't know. Obviously, Georgia's, they're probably the team who's going to win, but I'm not going to pick that high up. I think I'm going to go with your Oregon pick.
Oh, really?
Plus 600, baby.
Damn.
That's a good bet.
That's my national championship team.
Is it?
Yes! Yeah, I really like Oregon. I think...
Too bad. Sorry I jinxed it. Coop.
I was going to say, I just think Dylan Gabriel fits their system.
The unis.
They have, and they have a guy on defense, and I cannot remember his name. He plays linebacker. Mm-hmm. He's a freak. He's going to be a first-round pick in the draft next year. I'm really mad that I can't remember his name because I was really watching YouTube clips of him earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have a very well-rounded team. They've got a good coaching staff. Dan Lanning, I think, right?
Okay.
Is that right?
Could be.
I can't remember. I can see his face. But yeah, no, I really like Oregon this year. I think the big thing for them is they go to Ohio State, and I think when they play a rematch, I think that's going to favor them. I think that's good. I think the loser of that first game between them is actually going to win the
Bounce
Big Ten.
back. Okay.
Yeah. So if Ohio State loses to Oregon, Ohio State will beat them the second time. But if Oregon loses the first time, I think Oregon.
They
got to
go to Oregon. Yeah. So it's a tough game.
But yeah, no, I'm with you. I like Oregon. If I had to pick one team, I think that's the one I would ride or die with.
Sorry to ruin your pick.
So
the other thing I don't want to go deep into, but the Heisman race, what I thought was fascinating, or at least at this stage it is, it's all quarterbacks. There's not a running back on this list. Not even a wide receiver. It's just like the damn MVP now. There's no chance.
Yep. Any
other position. Foolishness.
So I bet Charles Woodson's really happy. He's going to be the last defensive player to ever win the Heisman.
Yeah.
Right? Was he the last one? Last defensive player?
That sounds right. Yeah. I mean, there hasn't been a defensive player that's sniffed it in a long time.
And Dominican Sue is like the last one I can think of. Or Manti Te'o.
Did he win?
No,
he didn't win though.
No, Manti Te'o, I guess, was the last one up for.
Yeah, he was on the edge there. So, I mean, this is
Charles Woodson, 1997, last time.
I mean, he did play both ways technically, I guess.
Yeah, he's a punt returner.
All right, well, that kind of wraps up the college segment. We'll talk about picks weekly going forward, even when we do the NFL preview. If you want some games, we'll figure that out after next week. Unless you got some games this week. I know we actually talked about the schedule this week. I'm not sure when we're going to take.
They have Thursday. I know they have some games Thursday. Colorado plays Thursday night, I believe. So.
Likely we'll tape over the weekend next weekend. We'll figure out when.
Yeah, NC State. Missouri was the other team that I forgot to mention. Missouri could be very, very frisky. Look out for Missouri. Their schedule sets up really well.
I call that the Raja alert.
The Raja alert. Nice.
She's frisky.
They avoid a lot of the big players in the SEC. Like they don't play Georgia. They don't play. They don't play Texas. They don't play. They do play Oklahoma. Yeah, they avoid a lot of the big players in the SEC. So
Tommy
Missouri could be a very sneaky pick this year
for the conference.
Yeah, so definitely, if you're going to bet ATS, I think Missouri is a team you can watch this year. You can keep your eye on it. You might be able to ride the tailcoats for a couple weeks and make some bucks.
Yeah, I mean, let's just see to make the playoff. Let's see what they are. This is what we got these things for. Wow, they're only plus 200. People do believe that they're going to make the playoff.
Yeah.
Plus 200.
They had a pretty good showing against Ohio State at the end of the year last year. Obviously, Ohio State was not the Ohio State you see today.
Yeah.
But yeah, they avoid, like I said, their schedule sets up really well. They avoid Tennessee. They avoid Georgia. They avoid Florida. They avoid LSU. Like they don't play Bama. Oh, they do play Bama. Forgive me. But yeah, they avoid a lot of the big players in the SEC.
Better odds to make it than Utah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Missouri could be very frisky. Look out for them.
You heard it here. Frisky alert. Raja alert.
Yeah, the Raja alert. Nice.
All right, let's talk about it. We got the big trip coming up. Are you getting excited?
Oh, man.
All right, I'm serious. I'm excited.
I'm excited.
First of all, we're going to have 8 people. It's the biggest trip we've ever had. I want more people every year. We've only had a couple here and there, then 4 here, 2 here, 4 there, whatever. Now, bam, we got 8 people. Now, Ridgeway, I'm counting her in the 8, even though she's like showing up on Wednesday and leaving on Friday. I know.
Only for 2 days?
Yes.
You only catching 1 game.
She's really only there because we've destroyed her for years for not showing up, and now she's going to show up, and then she wants to come back so she can go to the Cubs-Yankees game on Sunday or something. I don't know. Whatever.
So you guilt tripped her into it.
I did.
Nice.
I did. It worked.
Attaboy.
I mean, she is the only female in the trip at the moment. So. But anyway, we're going on, officially it's the 5th, which is September 5th, the Thursday, and that's the Thursday night game. You're coming in on Thursday, right?
Yeah, Thursday afternoon I'll be there.
And then most of us are staying till Monday. People might be leaving Sunday if they say, well, not hotel night, but I'm leaving on the 9th. So we are there. You've got obviously the opening NFL game. That's Kansas City, Baltimore on Thursday. Friday, you've got the Packers and Eagles in Sao Paulo.
Yeah, in Brazil.
There's some security problems, I heard.
Really?
That's what I heard. We'll get into that later.
Okay.
But I heard. And then obviously there's already set up. We've got a day party set up for Saturday at Encore. Thank you, Edmund.
Nice.
We established that we're only paying for drinks, Lee, so you can actually show up instead of. Did you see what he said?
No.
Yeah, he's paying for the cabana minimum. We just give him some money for drinks.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not paying that's why I was like, dude, I can't pay like $350 in 2 days in a row. I can't,
right. That's
unless I win money at the tables, which we know we will.
Okay.
But I count on that kind of thing. But Lee was like, I'm just going to walk the strip. That's why he said he was just going to walk the strip endlessly for like 6 hours. We're like, dude, just come to the pool party. All you got to do is pay for your little
just pay for
high
drinks.
noons and be fine.
I can't wait to sit. I don't think I've ever been to Vegas where it's been warm enough to hang out by the pool. I'm always there like in the winter months. Yeah, I'm always there like in November, December,
Yeah,
it's going to be nice.
It's going to be hot, pal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be hot as hell. And, put on the sunscreen. But, we want to show off. You can bring the belt, I guess, whatever you want to do.
Should I bring in the carry-on? That was my other. I've been having a debate, an inner monologue for like a couple weeks now. Like, how do I get my camera there? How do I get the belt there? Like,
yeah, there's lots of things. Well, I'm not going to offer it up because I have to move my life to Vegas.
Yeah, right.
I'm leaving to Hawaii. But if the belt is kind of big to put in the bag, but you figure it out. I'm bringing the mic.
Maybe I'll just check a bag, maybe.
Yeah, so we are going to record the plan. I have to talk through logistics, but I need to sign up at Circa on Friday morning. Go downtown with my sister to sign up for the contest. Because I got paid. Need to put the money. Get the money.
Yeah.
Then go, and then we can record like late morning, early afternoon. Would be nice to do by the Mandalay Pool, just like you're outside and everything.
Right.
And then have a day. So and then Sunday, of course, Open NFL Stadium Swim. I know you went once.
Yes.
With James.
Great time.
You said it was cool, but we've got a booth. They have booths now instead of VIP chairs. I'm sure we're gonna be stuffed in, but as long as we got a guaranteed spot, which is awesome. That way, if we don't show up the problem is if you get there at like 8:30, 8:45 when you don't have a guaranteed spot, you will not get one of the chaise lounges, and you have no base of operations. Like we'll get a little locker thing for our stuff, and we obviously have probably a pretty hot server, likely. So Ridgeway, you're not there, but we've got 7. My brother-in-law will be coming. I think Edmund said his friend's coming, so we have 8 or 9 people.
They're arriving.
Going to be awesome. So they're arriving. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
Yeah.
We're like 10 days away.
Yeah, it's gonna be a trip.
It's gonna be awesome.
Champ's gonna be there. It's gonna be a great time. I can't wait to all the pictures that we're gonna have to get is gonna be.
Oh my god!
Oh, it's gonna be so much fun.
Scotty Green's going too,
Yeah, we were talking about yesterday at the beach.
Wolfpack, baby.
The Wolfpack and Art. Yeah,
Art's going.
There.
Yeah. The thing is, I still haven't given him his shirt, so I'm bringing it to Vegas.
Nice. Okay.
I mean, you don't have to put on your shirt, but I am bringing. Of course, I'll have Hawaiian shirts. Right. Hopefully, you guys bring your shirts. We don't have to do it. But
you're going to Hawaii,
Yeah. But we'll also make sure everybody gets side action shirts on the trip.
Okay.
Anyway, if you're in Vegas, let us know. I know another buddy, Mark, who plays.
Yeah, please do.
With other guys, he's there with his crew. He's got 10 guys. Art's got his golf buddies that are there for a trip.
Yeah.
We got some momentum, guys. Let's make this shit happen.
It's getting smelly in here. Oh yeah, it's picking up momentum.
That's right. So let's talk about this week. Obviously, we'll figure out when we tape later. But I've got a happy hour Thursday. I know you got school, right?
No, I'll be there. I'll be at the happy hour.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
I think Jordan's gonna join me.
Oh, good. Yeah. So, he's my guy now.
Yeah, he was gonna. He said that you invited him to Vegas and everything. We were talking about that. So, but he's got a bunch of PTO he's trying to burn through.
Okay.
Because he has to, I guess.
So we're doing a stereo Fulton Market. They have a new rooftop bar. I hope it's big because I think there's 25 of us.
Man.
We haven't reserved a spot. You just show up.
Okay.
And it's called what is it called?
A stereo.
Well, stereo at Fulton Market, but the rooftop's called like something funny. I can't remember now, but it's pretty cool.
I think I've been there. I don't know if I've been to the rooftop.
Yeah.
I might have met. Actually, no. I think I met Jen Vaughn there one night. Where were we going? Yeah, because we went to a movie. We went to like the rooftop movie.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's where I met her.
Great spot.
Yeah, that was.
But now they got a rooftop and it's called like whatever, something debaucherous, which I like. And then Friday, AVP technically starts Thursday, but Friday and Saturday is the big show, with Sunday being the finals.
Right.
I attend Friday, Saturday during the day, and then we have a softball, flag football joint party, which you haven't invited to. I don't know if you're going.
Oh.
Did I invite you to that?
I think I did get the email. Now I think about it.
No, anyway, that's going to be at the Stanfords.
Okay.
We're
I definitely got the
celebrating
email
the end of the season.
Okay.
Ridgeway is also recruiting for flag football, FYI. She's trying to get everybody there too. So
nice.
She's going to try to get the season together again this year. So that's my activities for this.
Nice.
There's other tournaments. I think we're going to we'll record sometime before that. We'll give you more updates on the social stuff.
Well, and I applied for media credentials for ABP, so we'll see.
What?
Yeah, so
you're gonna get to take pictures and stuff, or
Maybe.
talk to people?
Yeah.
Talk to Brandy.
Yeah, I'll put in a good word for you. Yeah.
Asking for a friend.
Right.
She doesn't know who I am.
You've heard of She's heard of. She's heard of Jim Wegs. Come on.
She's heard of Wegs.
She's heard of the Way. Yeah. The Edgewater Studios. I mean, come on. What are we talking about?
We've got
here?
a red rope outside.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have a big.
We have medical personnel on standby. Okay, this is the safest place in America to be. Okay, but no, I mean, just school this week. I'll be at the happy hour.
Nice.
Just packing, really, getting ready, getting mentally prepared because I know it's gonna be. It's gonna be.
So you're gonna roll some dice, you're gonna roll some bones, you're gonna play some cards. What's your plan?
Probably all the above, honestly. Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna say win Rome. I've never played roulette.
Yeah, I've always been on black. Besides that, I haven't done all the systems. I've been practicing the craps. I've gone out to rivers.
Yeah.
Been up and down, but I'm getting the tosses, figuring out my systems.
Okay.
Venetian Friday night. That's a must. I don't care what we're doing. We're going to Venetian. Art be damned, because we went. There's a story off the After Hours podcast. I can talk. I don't think Natalia listens, but anyway, it was fun last year.
Yeah.
We played, won some money, then we went there, then we kind of got hit on by a bunch of ladies.
Nice.
It happens.
It happens. You know, when you're just that damn handsome, it's just hard. I know. It's tough.
I mean, this is primetime Murphy. You got to swat him up. Did you show you? We went to. Last thing, we got to wrap up the pod. It's over an hour now. You know, Art owns a racehorse now.
Yeah, I saw that on Facebook. Yeah,
a racehorse. He's over there.
He's over there right now?
No, he was there like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I did see that on Facebook as well. Yeah.
He's a horse owner now. He's like royalty practically.
Man, we gotta go golfing. I haven't been golfing with him this year either. So
well, his foot is better. He's now starting to play. You know, he broke his foot earlier.
Yeah, it's because he wasn't a free swinger this year. Yeah,
I know. It was tough.
So,
it was tough.
But I am doing a career fair. The Chicago Sky. They're doing a career fair this week. I am going to the game Wednesday night too because my ticket was included in going to the career fair. So
like it.
So I'll get to see Angel Reese. Maybe give her a little shout out. Give her a hey.
She can come on the pod anytime she wants.
She might know the champ. You never know.
Exactly. Have the belt. Bring the belt. I mean, she's won a championship. She has a ring.
Oh my God! Yeah, she definitely knows who the champ is. That's for sure. So.
All right. Well, we'll follow us at Side Action Pod on X and Side Action Podcast on Instagram. Follow me at Wegspool on X and on Instagram.
And you can obviously check me out on Instagram and X at Dalton Cooper on X and that's on Instagram and then at Mr. Grumpy Gills. Again, we are the Side Action Podcast. We hope to catch you this week where we do our NFL preview and we get into some big boy football.
Big boy football. Big boys. All right, have a great week. Last week of summer, sort of.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you guys soon.
Love you guys.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Side Action Podcast. We appreciate all of your listens, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you all again next week on Thursday for some more hot picks and side action. Side Action Podcast, its owners and associates take no responsibility for the opinions or statements made by the show hosts or their guests. Statements or show topics are not necessarily the beliefs of this podcast, and opinions between talk show hosts may conflict. Individuals following the advice given on the podcast accept their own risk of losses from wagers made. As the Side Action Podcast, its owners, hosts, associates, or guests will not guarantee any advice given. The opinions and advice given on the Side Action Podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Intro and outro and transition music credits. Song titles Jerry 5 and District 4 by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.org. Licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 3.0. creativecommons.org/licenses/by 3.0.